So today we're going to look at Ableton Live's MIDI transformation tools, and in particular one called Ornament, and we're going to look at that using drums. So let's go, and we're going to start by recording a simple drum beat here. Great. So the next thing we're going to do is just make sure Ornament is switched on. As you can see here, it's one of the transformation tools, and we're going to select Flam, and by default it's going to give you kind of like an extra note, but it's going to be a position of minus 20%. So that's going to start before the beat. So this is how it would sound. So you have this velocity thing here, so you can change the velocity. You can see how it's moving there. Just increase the velocity of that extra note, or we can reduce it, so it's just a little tiny sound. So the other thing to do is change the position of the stroke. So at positive values, the stroke will begin at the start position of the original note proportionally to the grid, and the original notes will be shortened accordingly. And at negative values, the stroke will start proportionally to the grid before the original notes up to a maximum of 1 grid step. So let's just change that to minus 10%. You can see here the values have got smaller. Why don't we change that now to minus 5 so we can see the effect. So here we just have the extra stroke. Now let's just see what happens when we add the note, but it's now positive 10%. So the one I really like is called Grace Notes. Now Grace Notes will take the same notes as we had in Flam, but it will allow you to select a higher pitch, a lower pitch, also the chance that this stroke will happen. So you can reduce that as well. You still have the velocity and the position, but you also have more notes if you want to add more notes. So we can add, this is 5 notes, we can add say 7. So in that same little space you can add say 10 notes. So it can be super quick, but let's just change it to 5. But what we're going to do is pitch them up, but because this is a drum rack, they'll just go up to the next instrument. So let's just see how that sounds. And let's try with low. So it's going to go down a semi. So for me, that sounded pretty decent. High. I'm going to just zoom in again, and we're going to reduce the chance to just under 50%. Let's just take a listen.